And thank you very much for joining this session, which is all about becoming a Dynamics 365 finance functional consultant. This is a webinar that is for professionals who have an interest in moving their careers to the Microsoft space and are considering becoming a Microsoft Dynamics 365 finance functional consultant. We're running this because there's a high demand for professionals with the skills to implement Dynamics 365 Finance, which has been the case for years. The demand for the solution is rising faster than the talent pool, which creates a lot of opportunities for exciting career progression in this particular area. For example, accountants, finance analysts, or consultants with experience in other ERP systems are all great candidates for moving to the Dynamics 365 finance space. So if that sounds like you and you're interested in what that might look like, today what we're going to do is paint you a picture of what the Dynamics 365 finance functional consultant role is like. So you understand, what you may be doing if you choose to train into this direction. And we're going to walk you through the steps you can take to get started on this path if that's something that appeals to you and that you might want to pursue. If you have any questions as I speak, please pop them into the chat and I'll make sure that I take some time to check regularly and answer them all. In terms of agenda, so our topics today are going to be first, what is Microsoft Dynamics 365 Finance? Then what makes the functional consultant role interesting? Then we'll go over career expansion prospects after you become a Dynamics 365 Finance functional consultant. How to gain certainty around your career plan. And finally, how to get trained, certified and hired. A few words about me. I'm Sandra Kutsenko. I've been in the Microsoft space for over 8 years now, and my specialty is learning and development solutions, specializing in the Microsoft space. I've also done a lot of work on Microsoft hiring solutions. And at the moment, I'm the leader of the 365 Talent Portal Microsoft Learning Partner Practice. And 365 Talent Portal so we're a Microsoft Learning Partner and a Microsoft hiring platform. So we have a specialization as well around talent development in the Microsoft space specifically. And we work very closely with Microsoft and with a lot of employers in the Microsoft space around bringing new talent into the space. That's one of the things that's very important to us as a company. Now, before we dive into everything, I'm very curious as to what brings you here to this webinar today. And so I'd love to know if you want to pop your answer for me in the chat, if you're feeling like sharing. I'd love to know what brings you here and what is it that's missing from your current career that's making you think about maybe becoming a finance functional consultant. So I'll give you just a minute and I would love it if those who are willing to share would type their answers in the chat. Okay, thank you, Benjamin. All right, thank you for sharing. Thank you very much. Very interesting answer. I will move to the next slide, but if you're still typing, please continue, and I'll make sure to go through these. So everybody seems to be interested in exploring some finance-related topics and training and certification. Okay, amazing. So it sounds like we're going to have some useful content for you. Okay, so let's dive into what is Dynamics 365 Finance, because of course, in order to know if this is a right area of focus for you, you need to be clear on what the product is and what it does. So in a few words, Dynamics 365 Finance is a cloud-based financial management application which is designed for large companies. It's a part of a type of solutions you may be familiar with that's called Enterprise Resource Planning, or ERP for short, which supports businesses to automate their processes across various company functions, including finance, but also others that we're going to cover a little bit later on. Dynamics 365 Finance is a subset of a larger Microsoft ERP solution called Dynamics 365 for Finance and Operations, which includes finance, but also things like HR processes. Microsoft Dynamics 365 Commerce is part of it, supply chain management and manufacturing. So it's quite a large solution that has a lot of different functionalities. What Dynamics 365 Finance does for companies, in summary, it supports businesses to optimize their financial processes, and it does this through things like reporting, analytics, maximizing performance through business process automation, improving budget control and budget planning, and decreasing financial risk. So a quick question for you to assess yourself on whether this is a good product for you. How do you feel about the idea of empowering companies to improve their financial processes and results? How does that sound to you? Again, you're very welcome to share your answers in the chat. And I also want to mention with this presentation, we're going to be sharing some resources. So that's going to be sent to you after the webinar. With every question, we have a link. So here, for example, there's a link to the Dynamics 365 Finance official page. And this is something for you to explore, to dig deeper into the area we've just covered. So here we just talked about Dynamics 365 Finance. If you want to learn more about the product, then this particular link will give you more information about what it does, its business value, and how it helps customers. Now, what is it like to work with Dynamics 365 Finance? So this is, as we mentioned, quite an elaborate solution, and it's designed for large companies. What that means is it's typically implemented alongside with other Dynamics 365 modules, such as the ones we've listed, supply chain management, HR, commerce, and it's done as a part of large projects that last several months each. It often brings opportunities to work on multi-sites or even international projects when you specialize in Dynamics 365 Finance. So again, a quick question here. What motivates you with the idea to engage with multi-site or multinational businesses for long-term digital transformation projects? How does that sound to you? And again, there's a resource, so please take some time to think about this. Share your answers in the chat if you want to. And again, there's a resource we're going to share with you here if you want to dig deeper into what is it like to work with Dynamics 365 Finance. There's these featured resources on the Dynamics 365 Finance community page, which include things like articles and videos that dive deeper into some aspects of the product, what it does, and what is it like to work with it. So it's a good area to explore if you want to get a closer picture of this area of Microsoft Dynamics. Now let's talk a little bit about the functional consultant role. So now that you know a bit more about Dynamics 365 Finance as a product, what would you be doing as a functional consultant working with finance? And the first thing that you would be doing in this role is analyze your client's financial tools and processes against their goals and challenges. So you would be running client workshops and having a lot of discussions with clients to understand how their financial systems are currently being run, what sort of systems they have in place and tools, and what are their goals that they would like to achieve with the implementation. From there, you will design a solution that leverages Dynamics 365 Finance to optimize your particular client's processes and the way that they do finances. You may be in a position to perform some of the non-technical part of the solution setup. And in many cases, what you would do instead is create documentation to work in collaboration with developers who will be customizing the solution to meet the customer's requirements as per your work and what you've uncovered. And another essential part of your role as a finance functional consultant would be supporting user adoption by promoting the solution to stakeholders when you're talking to them, and also potentially doing user training. In terms of work environment, you would very likely be working as part of a team because those are very large projects. So it requires more than one person to roll them out. And your team would include people like pre-sales and sales consultants, developers, testers, and even support consultants. Because a lot of the work can be done remotely, you would very likely have a chance to at least do hybrid work. And I want to draw your attention as well to this little graph here, which gives an idea of the salary expectations that a functional consultant can have. So this is in the UK, but it's usually, it's fairly aligned with things that happen in the US, for example. So in the UK, the range starts around £65,000 per year for a junior resource that's just starting, and goes all the way up to around £120,000 per year for a more senior consultant. Now, outside of the salary, which is quite good, what people typically find exciting about functional consultant roles is the variety, because you would get to work on a wide range of projects with different companies, and very likely what you're doing day to day would vary and not be the same every day. And the other thing that comes up very often from consultants who've been doing the job for a while in terms of what makes it exciting and fun is all the opportunities to train, because this is a fast changing area. So Microsoft often roll out new features, new ways to work with a product. And so it really is something that draws you to keep training yourself and developing yourself. And you're really encouraged to develop in different directions as a functional consultant. So again, a couple of questions for you to assess yourself on whether this is the right move. First of all, how do you feel about a multi-layered role that combines client-facing workshops, business analysis, solution design, and user adoption strategies? How do these things sound to you? And I would like to ask you as well, invite you as well, to think about what would be possible for you when earning a functional consultant salary. So while you think about this, there's also a link on this slide that will be shared with you, where you can learn even more about the functional consultant role. So it's there's a website called Microsoft Learn Career Connected, whose goal is to support people to learn more about the opportunities in the Microsoft space. It's an official Microsoft website, and on there, they have a functional consultant role page, which details a little bit more than what I've told you about what the role is all about. So that's a way for you to dig deeper. And Sunny, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts about the functional consultant role. I'm very happy that you feel excited about this. Now let's talk a little bit about career development opportunities. Once you're a finance consultant, it's not the end of the road, and there's different directions that you can develop into in order to make yourself even more attractive to employers, just grow as a person and grow your career further. I'd like to talk about 4 of them, which are the 4 main. So the first one is to expand into additional Microsoft Dynamics products. So that's what we call horizontal expansion, and many consultants choose to do this because from the finance module, you can, for example, learn about how to implement the other modules of Dynamics 365 Finance and Operation. You could decide, oh, now I want to learn how to implement human resources or commerce. And it's quite easy to train into those because the underlying platform is similar for all of these modules. So you will be able to apply some of your knowledge working with Dynamics 365 Finance to these other areas. You could also potentially expand into Microsoft Power Platform, which is quite an exciting solution at the moment, and it does connect with Dynamics 365 Finance, so it's a very interesting skill to add to your skill set. Then you have the option to evolve into more senior roles, like solution architect, or even eventually maybe practice lead. Another direction is to become a Microsoft certified trainer and support other consultants to get trained and certified and grow their careers in the Microsoft space. And finally, if you've got a bit of an entrepreneur mindset, you could build your own Dynamics 365 practice. Understanding that these 4 directions are not mutually exclusive, and many of the successful consultants that we work with have done all or at least a few of those. And that's also part of what makes the role exciting, is that you will have all of these possibilities to grow and learn. One more question. Now you're probably expecting those. So thinking about, again, whether this is the right sort of career path for you, it's really interesting to ask yourself, what attracted your interest in these career growth options listed? And again, if you feel like it, please share in the chat. That's actually one that's very interesting for us to know about. So I'd like to invite you to think about it and let us know. And again, here we'll share this presentation with you, and there's 2 links that can allow you to explore this a little deeper. The first one is the Solution Architect role page, to see what that might be like as a potential progression from a functional consultant. And then there's the Dynamics 365 official page, where you can explore other areas of Dynamics in which you might be able to horizontally train eventually. I would like to take now a little bit of time to talk about how to get ready for success in the Microsoft Dynamics space. And the reason behind this is, if you're here, it means you probably have some degree of interest in the finance functional consultant role. And I can see, based on what you've been sharing in the chat, that this is the case. You're thinking about a career in the Microsoft space. You're thinking about a career with Dynamics 365 Finance. You probably have an interest in investing in your future, gaining new skills, and just opening up new opportunities for yourself. And yet, I'm guessing, and again, from what I'm reading, probably a number of you haven't quite taken action yet. So the first question I want to ask you, that's very important, is, what is it that's stopping you from moving forwards and getting started with this new path? Maybe you're asking yourself how this might be possible. Maybe you're feeling nervous about how long the path might take to get through, or maybe the cost of getting into this new area. Maybe you're worried about how likely it is that you'll find a job if you start on this path, and that's actually a concern we hear quite often. So what I want to say to you is, you're not alone in this. Many of the professionals that we speak to have the same questions and the same concerns and, the same worries around this. And maybe all of you are asking yourself similar questions right now. So, I see somebody who's interested in knowing the cost. So we're here to support you to find out. And yes, we are going to talk a little bit about the cost of training into Dynamics 365 Finance. And what we'd really like to do through the second part of this webinar is support you to find the answers to these questions or any particular other concerns you may have. So if you've got concerns I haven't listed, please also share them in the chat. And we want to show you how it's possible to move forward safely and really leverage the opportunity. And the reason why we want to do this is because, as I mentioned before, we're quite committed to bringing new talent into the Microsoft space. We really believe that career fulfillment is essential. And we do believe that there's a big opportunity right now in Microsoft technologies because we've seen many people be successful in similar career transitions. And we're working with a lot of employers that keep telling us we need more talent. There's not enough talent. That's our main stopper for success is we don't have the talent. So that's why if you've got an interest and there's like just a small thing blocking you from moving forwards, we really want to support you to get what it is that you need in order to develop yourself in the direction that you want to. So the first small step in order to achieve the finance career and move towards the dream of being a finance functional consultant is for you to be trained. And so we're going to talk a little bit about training now and how it works and what it takes to be trained as a finance functional consultant. Before I move into training, I just also want to take a minute to ask if anybody has any questions about what we've covered so far, like the role, the technology, the opportunities. So if you do, please pop them in the chat. Now, training. So training, first of all, that's something that is always a good thing to do, especially in a time of crisis like when we are now, because it's an investment in yourself. And learning about technologies like Microsoft Dynamics 365 can be very useful in many different types of roles and situations. And actually, when it comes to this particular path, the training commitment in itself is quite reasonable and easy to manage. So first, let me tell you about what it takes, what would be the training you would need to take. So this on the left side, the orange boxes are the training courses that you will need to get through in order to become a finance functional consultant. So there's 3 of them, and each of those courses has a corresponding certification, official Microsoft certification. So you would start on your path by going through Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations Fundamentals. And that's basically your foundation for the knowledge about Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations. So it tells you all about Microsoft ERP systems, how they work, their business values to customers. It teaches you about the basic navigation. So it's your essentials package. Once you go through this training and this first certification exam, you would move on to Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations Core, which is a more advanced version of this, and it starts to teach you how to implement and customize Dynamics 365 for finance and operations. It teaches you how the different modules work together as well, and it's a very important course to get through. And once you've completed this and you have your second certification, you would need to move into the third training, which is Dynamics 365 Finance. And that's your specialization training, which really goes deep into the finance module. It shows you all of the different features and it shows you how to implement them for your customers. And again, there's your final certification here. And when you have all 3, you will be a fully certified finance functional consultant. Now, what training options do you have if you were to decide to move on with this path? Your first option, traditional option, is Microsoft Learn, which is a free resource, and it's actually a really amazing resource. And we'll make sure that there's a link to it in the deck when we send it to you. So it's a great resource, and it's free, and it's got official Microsoft content on it. It's all self-paced. So we love it. The only challenge with it is that it's complex to navigate, especially if you're not used to the website or not used to the Microsoft space. Many people who've been on it have reported that it's great, but they're getting lost in it very easily. You don't have access to lab environments, so you can't practice as much as you would want to. And you have nobody to ask questions to when you happen upon a technical point that you don't quite understand. So it's especially for somebody who's a bit of a beginner in the Microsoft space, it's a bit of a double-edged sword. And then you have instructor-led training, which is great because you have a Microsoft certified trainer taking you through all of the topics, walking you through everything, answering questions. You do labs and you have access to lab environments, so you get a lot of practice. The challenge with that is that it's expensive and it requires taking time off usually because the courses run over whole weeks. Now, to give you an idea of cost, because somebody asked, so if you go with traditional instructor-led training in the UK, for all three of these courses, the total cost would be around £6,000, which is equivalent to $7,400 roughly. So that's quite an investment, especially if you don't have a company, an employer paying for it for you. Now, from having spent quite a bit of time talking to career changers, like everybody here seems to be, we already know that traditional options aren't quite ideal. And so we've created a training solution that addresses these challenges, and we want to say a few words about this to you now. And this is our Career Changer Dynamics 365 Finance Academy. And it's been designed specifically to address all of the challenges that people have reported to us. So career changers like you, when they were using Microsoft Learn or when they were using instructor-led training. So it's really tailored to professionals who want to explore the finance functional consultant opportunity safely and in a future-proof way. And the way we've built it is, first of all, it is self-paced, mostly. Most of your training would be, you would get a clear learning path with clear steps every week for what it is that you need to learn. And at the same time, we provide active support, and you would not be alone with your learning path. You would be getting every week a touch point. So every week there's about 1 to 2 hours of live sessions, the rest of the training being on your own time. And during the live sessions, we provide coaching, we provide support, we answer any questions, and we make sure nobody gets stuck. As a part of that, you would also get access to Microsoft certified trainers to whom you would be able to ask questions and who would support you to get prepared for your certification exams. We also offer a certification guarantee, because that's also something that we hear quite a lot. People who spend time investing in their own training, they want to have some degree of certainty that they're going to get the certification at the end. So provided that you follow the program, and our recommendations, then we would keep working with you until you get your certification, even if for any reason you don't get it immediately. And the last part, that's really the most important part, is job search optimization for the Microsoft sector. So that's the one thing that we do that nobody else does. And again, whenever we talk to career changers, the main concern is, okay, but how am I going to find a job after I've got my certification? And it's quite useful to have a little bit of knowledge for how you can attract the attention of a Microsoft sector employer. There's a certain way that you can build your CV, that you can tailor your LinkedIn profile, that you can select the jobs you apply to, be in the right communities, get the right introduction. So there's a strategy behind this on how you can maximize your chances of finding a job in the Microsoft space after having your certifications. And we've included all that knowledge that we have from 10 years of Microsoft hiring into that course to really make it very practical and make sure you get the outcomes that you want. So in terms of the cost, we've also made it affordable for somebody who's on a career change situation. The cost is £1,450 or $1,810 for the whole program. So that includes those 3 courses and certifications we've talked about just now. And it also includes the Microsoft Job Search Optimization, as well as training on useful Microsoft tools. So it includes lab environments. It is run over 13 weeks so that you have the time to still do your main job and, do this on the side. So you would have about 10 to 15 hours per week of self-paced training to go through. And the next cohort starts on the 26th of April. There's a link here for you if you want to discover more about this particular academy. And we'll also share the other training options with you when we send you the deck if you want to go a different direction, which of course is completely okay. Just a few words about the specific academy outcomes, and the reason why we've built it in this way is so that, first of all, you can get trust in your professional future. And we really aim to support you to have a strong Dynamics 365 career plan that you really believe in for the short term and the long term. We want you to have confidence in your skills through making sure you get your certifications. We want you to feel empowered for your job search, and I've talked about how we go about this already. And just really overall prepared for success by sharing a lot of the tools, platforms, communities, and resources that are used by the successful finance functional consultants that we work with. So this is my invitation to you to apply if you're already considering a finance functional consultant role. If you like the idea of the way in which we've built this particular training academy for career changers, then go ahead and apply. We're offering a discount to anybody who applies by the end of this week. Now, the application is only the first step of the process, so it's not a commitment on your part yet. What we will do if you apply is somebody from our team, probably me, will get back in touch with you, and we're gonna organize a call to talk about your career project. And that's where we'll ask you a number of questions to check where you are and make sure that this is the right path for you, so you don't get into something that's not quite what you're looking for. This will be your opportunity to ask us questions as well, and make sure that we address anything that you want addressed. And then if you're happy and you proceed, you will be getting a 10% discount on the 26th of April cohort. Now, if you're still not entirely sure, not ready to apply, and you want more information, I also want to make you aware that we offer a free Microsoft Career Strategy consultation where we can support you to move forward with your career plan. So I asked a question earlier about what are your blockers and what's moving you from proceeding and advancing your career. We can here support you to move through your main blocker and move forward, even if it's not with us. So even if you're thinking, oh, I don't really want this career academy, we can still help you. So book this link and have a chat, and we'll be talking about your career plan. The next cohort after the one on 26th of April is likely not to be until autumn. So there's a really great opportunity to join now and get started and just take action. So that's it's a really good time right now to get started with your training. And if you do join now as well, I want to mention, because that's something that people seem to be quite interested in. If you join now, there's also an option to pay in 2 installments, one now and one right before the cohort starts. So that's we've observed that's something that makes it easier for a number of people to commit to the training, and also something that usually learning partners don't offer. So we wanted to mention that to you. And we also have a resource that we're building right now that we would like to invite you to join. So for anybody who's in a process of career transition to the Microsoft world, and in fact, even if you're not sure about finance itself, we've created this LinkedIn group that's all about Microsoft Career Success for career changers. So we're going to be building a network of career changers for peer support. And in here, we're going to be sharing a lot of free tips around things like different types of Microsoft career paths. So you're going to get this type of information we just shared, like technology discovery, role discovery, tips to build your career plan in the Microsoft sector, information about training and certification. So some of it's going to be about our programs, and then some of it is going to be about free resources as well. Job search methodologies for the Microsoft sectors. You'll be getting some tips in the group too, and career development tools and communities as well. So I'm going to pop that link in the chat. And again, so that's absolutely no commitment. So it's for anybody who's a career changer, regardless of whether you're intending on purchasing our services or not. You're very welcome in the group, and you're very welcome to benefit from the free resources. So I see a question around whether we offer the same services for other modules like Dynamics Project Operations. So this is a project for us to expand in the future. And we want this academy eventually to cover all of the whole of Microsoft technologies. Right now, we have this finance path that is starting, but if you want, so I see your nickname is just the number one. So if you want to be made aware of future developments in our academy, feel free to send me an email. And that's true of everybody. If you're interested in a topic that is not currently on our website. Okay, great. Feel free to reach out to me and let me know what's the topic you're looking for, because actually, for example, if 10 of you wanted project operations, then that's enough people to start a cohort, so we could roll out certain things more quickly if we have enough demand. Kennedy, yes, the discount will still apply if the payment is done into equal installments, so long as you apply to the cohort by the end of this week and you start the process by the end of this week, then we will apply your discount to both installments, absolutely. And so the last slide that you'll receive, this is our contact information where you'll be able to reach out to me. You'll be able to check our other academies and solutions. And there was something else I wanted to say. Yeah, just let me know. Yes, of course, we have a bit more time. So please, if you have any additional questions, pop them into the chat and I'm happy to answer any of them. Great question, Benjamin. So are the job opportunities global or region-based? We are working globally, and just to set the right expectations, with the Microsoft search part of the class, we would teach you how to empower yourself to have the right methodologies to search for jobs. We would share platforms that you can get onto and ways that you can get introduced to employers. That would be global employers, absolutely. And then, of course, we would support you to through your job search. So we are working with global employers as well, and we're doing a work of encouraging employers to hire people with your profile. So there could be opportunities as well for us to open some doors for you. But yeah, to answer the question, the job opportunities or the job search methodologies and potential opportunities would be worldwide. Are there any other questions? Okay, it seems like that was everybody's questions. So I would like to thank you all very much for joining this webinar and for your active participation as well. I'm very happy that so many of you shared where you are in your career change process. I would like to invite anybody who's not sure about their career plan again to book this consultation with me if you feel like this can support you and you want to continue the discussion. So you'll be receiving via email the recording and this presentation here. Please check your junk folder if it doesn't come through to you within the next couple of days, because sometimes that's what happens to our emails. And but obviously, I mean, this if not, you all have my email address from the invite, so please feel free to reach out in this way as well. Have a lovely rest of your day and of your week, and I do hope to hear from some of you in the next few days.